Hello everyone, this is Indrajit Ganguly, and once again we meet in this virtual platform to continue our 6th chapter Bhakti and Sufi tradition. Dear students, I hope you remember that last day I was discussing about the growth of Sufi movement in India. In this module, I will discuss with you topic number 7 from NCERT, Chishti Sufi groups in the Indian subcontinent. I have told you that there are various Sufi groups and orders in the Indian subcontinent and around the world. But the Chishti Sufi groups, they become very popular, and I hope you remember that I have already told you that the Chishti Sufi Silsila or Chishti Sufi groups formed by Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti, and his dargah is basically situated in Ajmer, Rajasthan. Okay, so I will tell you about the story of how was the social life in this Chishti Sufi dargah or Chishti Sufi Khanka. Remember students, the Khanka was the center of social life. A well-known example is the Sheikh Nizamuddin's hospice. Remember students, Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia was another very important Chishti Sufi saint from India. So his Khanka was situated on the banks of river Yamuna in Ghiaspur, and it is on the outskirts of city Delhi. So when you visit Delhi, you can visit the dargah of Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia. The people believe that the Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia was, he can fulfill the desires of all people. So Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia was not worshipped by the Muslim people. He was also worshipped by the non-Muslim people. Because of his miraculous power, he was very popular in Delhi and around the subcontinent. Okay, so basically in the dargah of the particular Sufi saints, the Sheikh, there were several rooms are there, and the Sheikh lived in a small room on the roof of the hall where he made the visitors in the morning and evening. Obviously, the dargah is a place where visitors from different social groups. It can be the Muslims, non-Muslims, artisans, cultivators, weavers, anyone. They can come and meet the sheikhs and take their blessings. On one occasion, fearing a Mughal invasion, people from the neighboring areas flocked into the Khanka to seek refuge. And remember students, there in the Khankas, there was an open kitchen that is known as langar, and it was run on futu. Futu means unasked charity. So basically in that Khanka, there was an open kitchen, and the people can come to seek their blessing, and they can eat in this kitchen. So it was become an important center of the social lives. I hope you know that later on, the same concept was adopted by Baba Guru Nanak in the Golden Temple. I hope you know about Golden Temple. There was the biggest kitchen in the world is there in the Golden Temple. The same concept was generally adopted by Baba Guru Nanak in the Golden Temple. That is the open langar, open kitchen where any group of people, they can sit together and eat together. And that concept is generally evolved the concept of secularism. And secularism is the basis of Indian prosperity and India's unity. Okay, next, that is a very important customs and function that was adopted in the Sufi Khankas, that is ziyarat, that I have already told you that basically the shrine and the tombs of Sufi saints became the important centers of the pilgrimage. So gradually, so that ziyarat festivals is generally going on. There are most revered shrine of the Sufi saint is Khwaja Mainuddin of 14th century, and he popularly known as Garib Nawaza, which means comforter of the poorer. And it was evidently popular because of the austerity and pity of its sheikh, the greatness of his spiritual successors, and the patronage of royal visitors. Gradually, the Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti's Khanka became very popular. There is an instance in your book, that is Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He often visited the shrine of Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti, and he took the blessings of Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti. And you will be surprised to know that Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar, he also visited the shrine of Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti, and he gifted a big cauldron for the devotees, for the cookings of the devotees, and to run these langar systems. So for the royal patronage and for the donations of the sultans, the khankas became very popular and it became a place of the gatherings of the visitors and gatherings of the devotees. Next, another important festival that is called Qawwali. Remember students, that there is a similarity between Bhakti movement and Sufi movement is that basically Bhakti movement, the poets composed poetries, songs for the devotion of God, right? Basically they use bhajan and kirtan. Sufism, they basically use Qawwalis. Qawwalis means both mixture of singing and dancing. I hope you heard some of the Sufi songs like Damadam Mast Kalandar Ali Da Pehla Number, and there is a famous song that भर दो झोली मेरी ये मोहम्मद तेरे दर से हम खाली नहीं जाएंगे. So these kinds of songs generally performed in these Sufi shrine, and these songs usually used in the devotion of God. I think you know, I think you could understand that the Sufism basically challenged the Islamic practices. They rejected the practices like Hajj, 5 times namaz, fastings, though they did not encourage these practices. They believed that only the passionate devotion to the gods and singing and dancing can be used for the worshipping of God. That simple concept. Okay, next. There is a poetry became also used in the Sufi khankas for the devotion of God. There is a famous poetry that is written by Malik Muhammad Jaisi, that is Padmavat. I hope you are familiar with these famous poetry, Padmavat. The love story between Ratan Singh of Chittor and Rani Padmini. There is a famous love story between Padmini and Ratan Singh, and Padmini was very beautiful, and I hope you know that Alauddin Khalji, she became mad when he heard the name of Rani Padmini, and when Alauddin Khalji decided to attack Chittor, Rani Padmini and all the Rajput princes, they jumped into the fire and they took the custom, Johar. So these kinds of poetry are also performed in the Sufi Qawwalis because just for the devotion to the God. So these are the ways of functions. Next topic, that is relationship with states. I have already told you, without the royal patronage and without the donations of the sultans, the Sufi movement and Bhakti movement could not get momentum and could not become popular. I hope you know that Alvars and Nayanas become popular in South India because they get enough donation from the Chola rulers, right? So the Sufi saints, they also get enough donations from the from the Delhi sultans. That's why they become popular. Without their patronage and without their donation, it could not be possible. So sometimes, and why they do so? Because the Delhi sultanates, the rulers of Delhi sultanate and also the Mughal Badshah, they need some blessings from the Sufi saints to legitimate their power, to consolidate their powers. So that's why they usually visit in the Sufi saint. There is a very interesting story, let me share with it. When you visit Fatehpur Sikri in Agra, there is a famous dargah of Sheikh Salim Chishti. And there is a story that Akbar usually visited the dargah of Sheikh Salim in Fatehpur because Akbar wanted a child, a son, for the next successor in the Mughal throne, but he did not get any son. So Akbar took the blessing from Sheikh Salim, and Akbar got a child, and he gave the name of his son, that is Salim. Later on, Salim became Jahangir. So in this way, the stories of the miraculous power of the Sufi saints become popular. But sometimes there are also sometimes the relationship between Sufi saints and the rulers are not so become close. So there are instances of clash with the Sufi saints. In your book, there is a story that please go through it. It is very important for 8 marks question, that the Sufi sect also perform some rituals like prostration. That means suppose when a visitor came to see a Sufi saint, they have to prostrate. That means they have to lie down and take the blessings of the Sufi saint. That same customs had to be followed in the court of the Badshah, and they have to kissing the feet of the Sufi saint. So the Badshah also doing the same customs. So there is a clash between the Sufi saints and the Badshah. And some of the Sheikh Nizamuddin Auliya, he took a high sounding titles like Sultan ul Mashaykh. I'm repeating once again, Sultan ul Mashaykh, which means Sultan amongst Sheikhs. So in this way, Sir Sultan believed that now the Sufi sect could not obey us. Okay, so they challenge our authority. So sometimes there is a clash relationship. Okay, this is it for today. In my next class, I will discuss with you another two important topic, Baba Guru Nanak and Kabir. Thank you and have a nice day.